Hello students, let us learn general science for class 7 from the book Science Square. Today we are going to learn chapter 10, Respiration in Living Organisms. In this chapter we are going to discuss about how respiration takes place in living organisms, that is both plants and animals. Let us begin the chapter. We have already studied that digested food is used as a fuel to get energy for growth and repair of our body. Let us now discuss how this energy is used from the food, which is absorbed and assimilated in the cells. When oxygen burns the food in the cells, it releases energy. Then carbon dioxide and water are produced as a waste products, which are thrown out of the body. The process of getting oxygen into the body and using it for releasing energy in the form of ATP by burning the food and removing carbon dioxide and water vapor from the body is known as respiration. So we are going to obtain oxygen for the body and release the energy in the form of ATP by burning the food and removing carbon dioxide and water vapor as a byproducts. Respiration. The process of respiration can be expressed in the form of a word equation. Food, when mixed with oxygen, the oxygen digests the food to release carbon dioxide, water and energy. Here, carbon dioxide is removed while energy has been taken in the form of ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. Adenosine triphosphate. Why do we breathe? Respiration is essential for life because it provides energy for carrying out all the life processes which are necessary to keep the organism alive. It is a mechanism of breathing by which organisms obtain oxygen from air and release carbon dioxide. While we are breathing, we are taking in oxygen from the air and we are releasing carbon dioxide out. When we do this, it provides energy inside our body so that all life process keeps going on. Breathing in and breathing out are the first and the last steps in the process of respiration. There are two types of respiration, namely aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. The word aerobic refers to the oxygen. Anaerobic means absence of oxygen. So, the respiration which takes place in presence of oxygen is known as aerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration takes place in absence of oxygen. During aerobic respiration, that is, the presence of oxygen is there and hence the food gets completely broken down with the end products carbon dioxide and water. On the other hand, anaerobic respiration, which is taking place in the absence of oxygen, in which food will not be completely broken down. And so it results in the formation of ethyl alcohol and lactic acid. Aerobic respiration will give you considerable amount of energy in the form of ATP, 38 molecules, whereas anaerobic respiration provides you with a less energy of 2 ATP molecules. Let us see how respiration takes place in plants. In plants, each part can independently take in oxygen from the air and gives out carbon dioxide. Leaves have pores called stomata for gaseous exchange by diffusion. Stems have openings called lenticels for gaseous exchange by diffusion. Roots have stomatal pores for gaseous exchange of oxygen dissolved in soil water. So in plants, if you happen to see leaves, stems, root, all these three are having pores or opening, which helps in gaseous exchange by diffusion. Let us see how respiration takes place in animals. In earthworm, the respiration takes place through moist and slimy skin. In cockroaches, it takes place by spiracles, which are small openings found along the sides of their body. We call that as a tracheae. Spiracles or tracheae. Insects, you can see most probably tracheae. These are a network of tubes. In fishes, the respiration takes place by gills. Gills are nothing but the projections of the skin supplied with blood vessels. Respiration takes place through gills. In cockroaches, we don't call it as tracheae, we call it as a spiracles. Spiracles are nothing but small openings. But in most insects, trachea are found as a network of tubes for respiration. In frogs, we can see thin, moist and smooth skin. When in water, helps for respiration. And lungs when in land. Frogs respire through lungs when in land. Let us see how breathing takes place in humans. The main organs involved in breathing are nose, nasal cavity, tracheae, bronchi, and lungs. The breathing organs in human beings are lungs. Air enters our body through nostrils, that is, opening into nose. It is then reaches the nasal cavity. The air from the nasal cavity reaches the windpipe known as tracheae through pharynx. The tracheae is further divided into two smaller tubes known as bronchi to either side of the lungs. One bronchus enters each lung. From the lungs, each bronchus further divided into number of small branches known as branchioles. Each branchioles will end with the number of a sac, air sac called alveoli. The walls of alveoli have thin blood capillaries. The mechanism of breathing includes two processes, namely inhalation and exhalation. In the process of inspiration, that is inhalation, there would be a contraction of muscles attached to the ribs on the outer side. It pulls out the ribs and results in the expansion of chest cavity. When you inhale, you can see the expansion of your chest cavity. Later, the diaphragm contracts, move upwards and expands the chest cavity. Due to this, contraction of abdominal muscles takes place. The expansion of chest cavity produces a partial vacuum which sucks air into the lungs and fills the expanded alveoli. So when you exhale, when you inhale, the air enters into the lungs and fills the expanded alveoli. During expiration, after the gaseous exchange has taken place in the lungs, the air is expelled out. This expulsion of air, that is carbon dioxide, we'll call it as a expiration. During this process, muscles attached to the ribs contracts and the muscles of the diaphragm and abdomen relax. This decreases the volume of the chest cavity and increases the pressure of the lungs. So, air in the lungs to be pushed out through the nose. So, mechanism of breathing takes place by inhalation and exhalation. During inhalation, that is inspiration, muscles contract, ribs are pulled out, expansion of chest cavity takes place, and contraction of abdominal muscles takes place, leaving a vacuum. So, the air fills in the expanded alveoli. Now, during exhalation, muscles gets relaxed, ribs gets relaxed, and the chest cavity decreases in the volume. This increases the pressure of the lungs, and so the air in the lungs to be pushed out through the nose. Let us have a chapter recap. Most living things need oxygen to obtain energy from the food they eat. Respiration takes place in the presence of oxygen is known as aerobic respiration. When the respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen, we'll call it as the anaerobic respiration. Most plants respire by the process of diffusion. Different animals will have different modes of respiration. Human beings have lungs as the breathing organs. This ends chapter 10.